Perks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I want to begin with these words. You will not see me digging in my heels and insisting on charging ahead with things that don't make sense, which cost too much, or don't provide the most efficient, most effective benefits to our residents. You might recognize those words, Mr. Mayor. They were yours. You spoke them less than 5 months ago when city staff showed that the cost of the western spur of Smart Track was far too high to be justified by the number of riders that it would attract, tunneling underground. At times, we have to come to the very sobering and very difficult realization that things that we thought were reasonable when we had not very much evidence turn out to be completely unreasonable as we gather more evidence. That's what's in front of you today in terms of the Scarborough subway. Never in the history of the City of Toronto has there been a proposal in front of this council to spend this much public money for so little public benefit. No person has ever voted for that plan. There has never been an election with one subway stop costing $3 billion. There was an election with 3 subway stops costing $2 billion. So something that was, what's that, 6 times more cost effective than what's in front of you today? But there's never been an opportunity for Torontonians or Ontarians or Canadians to support this outlandishly expensive proposal. And the expense is outlandish because of the context. You have 2 further items that are going to be in front of you today, and I'll speak to those, but it's worth relating them. One of them is a report on the need to bring in new revenues for the City of Toronto. Unless you are prepared today to say that you are going to endorse one of the 3 of them that brings in hundreds of millions of dollars per year, and to begin banking that money away so that we can afford to build housing and we can afford to build transit, you're effectively consigning all the fiscal room the City of Toronto has to this one outlandishly expensive proposal. The third report that's going to be in front of you today is the directions report for the operating budget. A directions report which talks about telling the TTC that they're going to have $180 million less than what they say they need just to deliver the same service next year as they're delivering this year. In other words, the largest cut to the operating budget ever in front of the TTC. That same report talks about taking $100 million away from Toronto community housing. $100 million they say they need just to make payroll and keep the lights on and do minor repairs. In an environment where we can't do the basics, spending a staggering amount of money, 6 times as much as anything Torontonians have ever been asked to vote for, is beyond irresponsible. It will simply be the worst decision you make in your career.